with all the...
Hello, welcome to San Diego. We have the San Diego Super Bloom versus the Los Angeles Astra. Thank you very much for watching on the live stream, and we are here at Mira Mesa High School. My name is Daniel Coble. I will be your play-by-play announcer for today.
And my name is Mako Moore, and I will be the color commentary for today's game.
We have a very exciting game for you today. We have a very exciting weekend. All three teams, both the Astra, the Super Bloom, and the Arizona Sidewinders, are all in a make-it-to-break-it situation. They're all pretty close in the standings, and they all want to make it to the playoffs. So let's see how this weekend goes.
Yeah, we see that Arizona and Super Bloom are both in the top 4 standings, which is what we need to make it to the championship bracket. And LA is definitely here to prove that they are more than capable of making it to the playoffs as well.
Yeah, these two teams definitely have a lot of star power, and we have some keys of the game for you here today. For LA, number one, we're looking to see them how they're progressing through their handler sets. They struggled a little bit against Utah with the wind, and definitely should be a point of improvement or a point of outcome for the game.
And then we also want to see them moving it early on, really moving it out of the handler space, looking downfield for those undercuts, and if a deep shot is there, taking that opportunity.
And these deep shots might be a little hard in the wind. It is pretty windy today, so we're looking to see Astra come out with one of their zone defenses, variations of box. Against the Wild, we saw a little bit of diamond, we saw a little bit of 3-2-2. So we're looking to see them capitalize on maybe any quick turns in their zone defense, because Super Bloom struggled a little bit against the Falcons zone D a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and for San Diego, some keys of the game that we're looking for are hard trap marks.
Are there any questions?
I think
before
that
we
will
start?
definitely
Rules,
shake up the handler
clarifications?
set for Astra. And fighting through the zone. As we said, it is windy, a little breezy out here today, likely to pick up later on. And we definitely want to see them able to break through those zone looks that Astra's likely to put on.
Continuing on with their offense, it might be a little tough with the wind. I'm really interested to see what both teams do with their deep game and connecting on these deeper hucks to space. Might be a little difficult in the wind, but we'll see if San Diego can connect on those deep throws, especially from Iwamoto.
Yeah, I think on both sides there are dominant players that each team is going to want to contain. On Super Bloom, of course, Iwamoto is someone who is able to move the disc through for Super Bloom, so Astra is probably looking to shut her down. And on Astra, we have Ellie Mellick and Maggie O'Connor, also responsible for a lot of movement for Astra. So we'll see how each team defends against these dominant players.
Just got to shut down the Player of the Year from 2020. And down to the field. All right. Okay. So it looks like we're going to have our starting 7 take the field. For the Super Bloom, we have number 3, Maldonado. We have number 11, Avery Jones. Number 20, that's the one to keep an eye on, Kelly Iwamoto, who was fantastic in the Falcons game 2 weeks ago. We have number 48, Julia Salvation. And number 5, Worlds player, Kayla Helton.
Yeah, and that is Super Bloom's O-line. So it looks like for the Toyn Costs, we got...
Ooh, and Blair Messner runs onto the field. Make it 7.
Yep, and
there
this is a pretty quintessential Super Bloom O-line. I do know they are missing Alex Diaz this weekend, so it looks like we're able to fill in that space with Blair Messner coming in to be in that cutter space.
Yeah. Blair is one of the faster players on Super Bloom and is definitely going to make her mark on this game. Very excited to see it. Interestingly, 2 weeks ago against the Falcons, Kayla Helton was predominantly more of a defensive on the defensive lines, so very interested to see her switch over to the O-line as well. And it looks like for the Astra, we have number 93, Naomi Guzman. We have number 47, Dina Elamelik. Keep an eye on her. Numbers are a little difficult to read from here. we have number 16, Audrey Brown, UC Santa Barbara standout. Number 24, Avalon Igawa. And is there anyone I'm missing? And there is the pull. Comes to about the 25-yard line. Maldonado centers it to Iwamoto. There, Super Bloom's looking at a 32 to start. And Helta is streaking deep. Kaboom.
Woo!
Nobody around her. Catches
What
it
a
right in front
shot.
of the end zone. Looks once, looks twice. Dumps to Willis. Oh, Willis with the break throw to Kayla Helton. And that is the first score of the game.
That was a buttery offensive play.
That was
Just slicing
smooth.
right through.
Wow. Just open deep space for Kayla Helton in that 32, 3 with the side stack on the left and the 2 out in space. Great job. And then the restraint from Kayla Helton to dump it off to Leslie Willis. Leslie Willis with a great break for the score. There's that beautiful huck out to Kayla Helton in the wind. And being a responsible, experienced player, dumps it off right away. Great step out backhand back to Helton for the score.
Yeah,
For the young players watching.
It looks like they put Ellie Melick on Helton to try to contain her. They are Fury teammates from this past club season. So we'll see how that matchup continues as the game goes on. We now have Super Bloom pulling. It looks like Kayla Helton is back on.
Ooh. Pull comes out to about the 30-yard line. Picked up and centered to number 82, Hani Pachela. Backhand force at the inside break. Oh, and we got a play on the field.
Looks like a uncontested strip with Sang coming out, or there might be some talk about whether or not that was a strip.
We have our first contestant of the day. Samantha WUL trying to say that she got that layout D, which is a great bid.
Counts at 0. Coming on 1.
Observer rules that it was a strip, and it comes down on 0. Sang with the disc. Looking upfield, looking at her dump. Looking for 23.
Covered.
Oh, and it's looking for a stall. She gets the bailout on the inside break.
Weaver able to
Looking
save
again
that
for the
possession.
23 with the disc, and she uncorks it to the deep space, and Pajunas says no.
Another great matchup. Ellie Melick and Pajunas being able to cover each other, but like you said, Pajunas just saying no.
Oof. Dumps it back to Helton in the middle, or Ellis. Ellis dumps back, laying with the disc, looking inside, throws it to Pajunas. Looks like she was poached, has no mark. Looking downfield, all the time in the world.
Definitely some confusion on Astra's defense. Pajunas picked up.
Lang on the break side. Lang fakes her defender. Comes under the inside break. Looking upfield. Dump to the break side. Looking for the break space. And we see a shot. Open shot to Pajunas, and this will probably get called back.
I'm guessing a pick was called.
Love the bid from Pajunas just to make sure that she had it.
Yeah, got to keep possession even when the pick call has gone out. So back to Helton. Wondering if that stall count is a little high at this point.
Ooh, Lang comes back, gets it in the middle of the field, looks for the continue, hits the inside to Ellis. What a tough throw in this wind. Ellis looks back at Lang. Lang clears through. Hits the break throw for Pajunas, and it is in the air! And Ella Melick, of all people, comes down with it.
Not surprising.
We'll be saying that a lot today. O'Connor goes deep. Ella Melick uncorks it to O'Connor. O'Connor in space, catches it while jogging. Looking upfield. Tells her upline to, oh, looking for the dump. Has it on the
Pagella.
sideline. Number 6 on the sideline. Here's that trap mark. Here's that big trap mark. Oh, and they get it off. Oh, close. Just a little too hot of a throw. Hate to see it happen. Helton picks up. Immediately throws it deep. That is Stombaugh with the catch. Stombaugh dumps to Ellis. And a very smart timeout called on the sideline.
Yeah, definitely getting into the red zone. I imagine from past games that we've seen these timeouts called that head coach Angela Wells is going to swap out this D-line for a few offensive players, if not the entire O-line, to really punch in that score.
There is a lot of wind on the field, so these break points are definitely more valuable with how volatile the wind can be down there. It looks like we have Iwamoto on, we have Helton on, we have Avery Jones as well. We have some other mainstays from the O-line coming in there too.
Jessica Wan.
Jessica Wan coming in. As far as the Astra, they have put Alex Kruger on, as well as some of the other studs maybe get this block.
Yeah, I see Veronica Yee out there.
Looks like Avalon Igawa. We have Camille Wilson. And here we go.
Defense is set. That's a UCSD line right there in the front.
Iwamoto looks back to Ellis. Fakes one. She's running out of time. Puts it up for Helton, and Helton gets it in the end zone. That's exactly how you draw it up, right? Stall is called.
Not surprising.
Looks like Audrey Brown is on the mark. Oh. Stall
10 seconds.
is called. Does not turn out the way Super Bloom is looking for. Great handler Dion Ellis on the dump. That was very, very well done. It's a very difficult player to guard.
Ooh.
Oh.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Hate to see it. Moving forward. Looks for one more. Jones looking for Pajunas. Pajunas scores in the corner. And that is a very good break for Super Bloom.
Yeah, a little bit of a struggling in the beginning after that timeout where we saw, as you said, the handler, the dump space was covered very well. Let's look at that replay here. Pajunas to Jones.
And then Pajunas just comes and says, I want it.
Definitely ensuring that Super Bloom was able to score this pivotal point early on in the quarter.
And all smiles on the Super Bloom sideline, 2-0. As far as the O-line for the Astra, it looks like we have O'Connor back on.
We also have Stephanie Pritchard and Sharon Singh.
And Pajunas stays on for the defensive point. Pull goes up to about the 25-yard line.
Let's see how the Astra handlers.
Honey Wang jumps on the break side. Up to Weaver. Weaver fakes it. Looks back. Dishes it to the Pagilla. Ooh, nice 20-yard under. Contested. Pritchard with the disc. Ooh. Maybe rushed it a little too quickly.
Yeah, I feel like Helton's presence on D.
She is intimidating. It's a nationals player for you. It's a USA Worlds national player for you. Call on the field.
That was the continuation. Yeah.
Looking for some clarification from the observer. It looks like there was a pick call, and they're arguing about a continuation throw. So if this was a continuation throw, then it would not be a turnover? A little unsure. It's hard to hear without hearing the conversation.
That is a great question.
Helton with the trap mark. Pritchard dumps it back to the middle.
Connie Wang throwing it to Pagella.
Joe looks for her options. Covered downfield.
Stack a little deep in this windy condition.
Wang hits the inside. Oh, and a great bid. A national worlds bid by Kayla Helton. Helton's putting her stamp on this game. Lang shoots it up. Trapped on the sideline. Trevino getting it off. Lang back to the middle. Ellis with the disc on the far sideline. Uncorks it. Oh, and here's one of those contested jump balls. Oh, good attempt.
It was really great contesting by Pritchard on defense with Helton, just making sure that she was also in the space vying for that disc.
Goes up line on the break side, looking for a dump, hits Pagella. Pagella one more to O'Connor. We have a bustling cutter going deep, and that deep shot is up. It is hanging up, and kaboom! She catches it about 5 yards from the red zone. Looks upfield for Pritchard, fakes Pritchard off. Hits her dump, moving upfield. Connie Wang in the middle. Looking for O'Connor to make a move, and it looks like a stall 7 bailout, and it works for the Astra's first score of the game.
That was a great cut on Sharon Singh's part. You know, has been primarily used in the handler space for Astra, but prior to this, definitely a cutter to look out for on the field. And a beautiful put by O'Connor.
Yeah. Or it wasn't by O'Connor, but O'Connor was the front of the stack. It felt like they were really waiting for her to make a move at the front. I was really expecting her to break one way or the other. Feels like stall count's getting a little high, and Wang gets a great job of getting an around backhand off the space.
And that is Lindsay Mazer with the score.
And there's the PA. Pole goes up. And it lands out of bounds. And there's the win we were talking about earlier. 2-1, Super Bloom ahead. Super Bloom's ball. Iwamoto takes it. Gets to walk to the middle of the field where it went out.
What do you think about this Astra defense? Is it looking a little zony out there?
Looking a little zony. Sidewinders came in for a little bit, but it's still looking zony. That's the last pun I'll make today. And here's that zone defense from Astra we were talking about, the little diamond. They have the 3-person cup, in, not cup, but 3 people in the middle, trying to keep it in the middle. Ooh! And they get a little too quick for themselves. You hate to see it. Turnover, picked up on the sideline. Number 17 picks up the disc. Reeves dumps it to the middle. Oh, and Ella Malik is tall. What a reliable player of the year handler. Hits the break throw over to number 93, Naomi Guzman. Guzman throws it back to 17, Megan Reeves. Megan Reeves throws it up on the next sideline. Great job of swinging the disc back and forth. 55 holding on to the disc, trying to get it back to the middle. Does. What a nice touchy throw to space. Megan Reeves back on the side. Dumps to 26. 26 throws it to, is that 89, Lexi Roy for the score? Ooh. And that's great job by Astra. We talked about the keys to the game and making sure that Astra can get these breaks off the zone D, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, definitely. And we could see that they were really using the lateral space in that end zone set. Let's take a look at the replay here. To Obara and to Lexi Roy, just far out to the side after a good swing set.
Do you think we're going to see that zone again right now?
Probably. It seems to have rattled the Super Bloom O-line, and I don't see why Astra wouldn't try to make that work again.
Got a lot of experience in that set versus the Utah Wild, so we'll see if they come out with that box again.
Yeah, the game last weekend was definitely a lot windier than this, so we'll see if Super Bloom is able to connect with any over-the-top throws.
Walters centered to Iwamoto. Iwamoto making some fakes. Stall count going up. She looks for her. Oh, and what a bid by Pajunas getting the disc. Looks for a reset. Hits Iwamoto on the sideline. They do not want to keep it on that sideline. Hits Jones. Dumps back to Iwamoto. Iwamoto makes a fake. Hits Avery Jones on a nice bid in the middle. Avery Jones continues up to Pajunas. Dumps it back to number 17. Bernadette Sue. Iwamoto in the middle. Makes fakes. Iwamoto's commuting very effectively with her fakes. Moves it to the sideline. Leslie Willis on the sideline. Makes a fake.
Looks like Astra has moved to person.
They're out of it. Back in the middle. Walters with the disc. Walters looking once, looking twice. Walters streaking up line. But it doesn't matter because Pajunas gets it on the live side for the score. And they recovered pretty good against that zone, I'll say.
Yeah. I think they shook off the nerves from facing it the last point and were able to just really use the space and the crashes to then open up the swing space.
They're doing a great job of communicating with their fakes.
Yeah, that is definitely.
Through the replay, Walters dumps it off to 48, and then to Pajunas for the score. Be Salvation. Salvation to Pajunas for the score. 3-2 Super Bloom. Looks like Astra has their O-line out there. We got O'Connor, Pritchard, Elimelech, as well as their traditional mainstays on offense. Pull goes up. And lands OB.
Looks like we have Connie Wang and Sharon Sang in the handler space for Astra.
Wang takes it in the middle.
I wonder if this is going to be a pull play utilizing O'Connor or Elimelech.
O'Connor out to the break side. Oh, just a little bit wide. But if we see a replay, you can see, oh, as they try the inside up line to Ellis, and it just gets hacked down by number 23, Connie Wang. Connie Wang getting it back. Dishes up to O'Connor. O'Connor looks downfield. Back to Wang. Wang in the middle. Continuing. Oh, fakes off the break. Dumps it, it goes up line. Hits number 6, Malia Smith on the side. Side number 5, Sharon Sang. Uncorks it deep. Pajunas is in the deep space, and Pajunas gets it.
No call from Woolridge.
Man, Pajunas is in the deep space. Definitely making her presence well known.
Yeah, just a great heads-up D there, able to read that disc and get into the right positioning.
To Helton. Helton on the side. Helton sends it back to the middle. Samantha WUL. Samantha WUL sends it to Ellis. Ellis continues the breaks to Stombaugh. Stombaugh looks upfield. Looks upfield. Fakes Ellis out. Ellis comes back to the middle. And we are seeing an attempt for a continue. Not there. Back to the deep space. Back to Ellis. Ellis looks downfield. 20-yard gain. And uncorks it. Oh!
Looks like
It's
the
very
wind
close.
played into that uncharacteristic bobble from Helton. Definitely a bladier release than probably what the thrower had in mind.
But that flow from Super Bloom was very, very well done. You can see Helton kind of poaching off onto the deep space. Someone missing an assignment on the poaches for Super Bloom. 32 on the sideline. Ooh, nice sticky finger snag. Uncorks it deep. And Pajunas with another D in the deep space.
Yeah, I think Astra needs to recognize that if Pajunas is in the deep space, maybe holstering those deep looks and waiting for an undercut to open up in the downfield.
Picks
Samantha
up the
WUL.
WUL to Helton. Helton looks downfield. Little poachy bracket by Astra. Pajunas finds the spot. Dumps it back off. And for the receiver, WUL looking for a dump. Inside, flick out to Helton. Oh, O'Connor with a great attempt at a D, but Helton just gets lucky on the bounce. Another swing to Pajunas. And coming under, Pajunas is looking to get rid of it, Another inside break back to Ellis. Another inside flick back to Pajunas. Dumps it back to Ellis. Ellis looking upfield. Looking to Pajunas. Super Bloom slowing it down quite a bit. It appears that Astra's defense downfield is figuring out a good way to bracket these cutters.
Yeah, definitely relying on the handler motion for this point. Just making sure that they do have, a dump back there for the thrower.
There's a call downfield somewhere.
Looks
Stall
like a
called
stall
on
call.
Pajunas. Wow.
Yeah, I would agree that
It was
Astra.
a stall. Okay.
I looked and there were 3 seconds, and then
It's a stall. It's my ruling. It's a stall. Okay. So that's the end of the quarter.
Wow, that was the end of the quarter. And 3-2 Super Bloom up. And looks like Elimelech and Pajunas are talking with the observer.
It's the end of the quarter. The time was out.
okay, I agree, but that's because
Ooh.
she's
All right,
See a
let's take a
replay.
look at this one more time. And I think what's in question
Okay,
here
but still the end of the quarter.
is that time has run out, which
Okay.
at the end of the
Thank
quarter
you.
when time runs out, whoever has possession maintains possession until it's a score or a turnover. So I'm wondering how that's coming into play with this stall call right now. Looks
And
like it's back
No.
to WUL.
Wow, back to WUL, and I'm wondering maybe if LML made an integrity call. I saw her talking with the ref as well. LML definitely would be the type of player to make that good integrity call, but it's all mute point.
And now that is the end of the quarter. Again, once time runs out on a quarter, it is just a possession game, so a score or a turn will end that quarter.
This is a very tight game. Get your snacks, get your water, but do not go anywhere. And welcome back to the second quarter. We have Super Bloom up on the Astra 3-2. And Astra is going to continue to look for their O-line to continue breaking the mark, to continue looking at these dumps early. And on defense, they're probably going to come out with that zone D again. It was pretty effective.
Yeah, and I think as the wind picks up a little bit here, both sides should be considering their zone defense and also how they're playing their zone O, just crashing through, opening up those swing looks, and really making sure they're using the lateral space as well as looking downfield against these zone Ds.
And when we look back to our keys of the game for the Astra and in San Diego, it looks like LA is doing a pretty good job. Pole goes up, lands inbounds around the 25-yard line. They center it back to Pagela. Pagela moves it to Wang. Wang looks downfield, and it looks like Super Bloom's in a little zone of their own. And one tight on the dump. We have WUL on the dump in the backfield. And Astra works it up slowly, starting to find the holes, starting to move it upfield.
That is a tall cup out there. We see Brenda Stevens, Rebecca Ellis, and Lindsay Ling, it looks like. We're in that cup, but we're back to person defense.
What was really interesting about that cup was they had the 4 originally and then 1 clamped down on the dump. That was interesting.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, really taking away that dump option.
Pritchard with the disc on the sideline, looking up to Elamelic. Elamelic has it. Looks downfield, now looking dump. Runs up line. Oh, great up line cut by Astra. Back to Elamelic. Looks her off. Swing to the middle, 2 receivers.
A little bit crowded in that space. We see both Wang and Sang there trying to fill for the dump for Pagela.
Goes back to Pagela on the sideline.
Hoping to see a trap mark here from Lang on the mark.
Ooh, they get the dump off back to the middle of the field. Wind picking up a little bit. Great inside break to Pritchard from Weaver. Pritchard looking upfield, looking at Weaver on the dump. Hits the lefty to Weaver in front of the end zone. Elamelic coming break side, coming back to the dump space. Dumps to Elamelic. Weaver goes up line, and Weaver in for the score. Great end zone offense.
Yeah, definitely trusted in their end zone set, filling when needed, and making sure that all of their looks were 100% throws, especially in this wind.
Yeah. We saw in the pregame that the Astra were really working those inside flicks and having a lot of success in their pregame warm-up and getting used to the wind. I think they on that red zone possession it really showed through.
Yeah, definitely paid off. Let's see a replay here of that end zone set. Weaver taking her time. Ellie Mellick coming back for that dump, and we see a nice up line by Caitlin Weaver.
Back on defense, it looks like Iwamoto is going to pick it up at around the 45-yard line. Iwamoto looks up. Looks back to their dump. Oh, Avery Jones with the bid to save the possession. Back to Iwamoto. Back to Willis on the far side. Willis looking upfield. Willis with no mark. Back to Iwamoto up line. Iwamoto takes a look up. Finds the hole to number 15, Jessica Wan. And with a turnover for the Astra, and that is a great D by Barreto.
Yeah, it looks like Astra was bracketing downfield again, just really making Super Bloom work in the handler space. But Super Bloom was able to break through that. You see Astra on O.
Number 11 on the far side. Dumps back to the middle. The continuation. Oh, and a tough drop.
Yeah, some good pressure by Iwamoto on Camille Wilson there.
Wilson on the mark. Dumps and goes upfield. Back to Iwamoto. Iwamoto dumps to Maldonado. Maldonado back to Iwamoto. Iwamoto looking upfield, maybe looking for a break. Back to Willis in the middle. Willis continues it to number 15, Jessica Wan. Wan looks upfield, very patient. Dumps to Avery Jones. Avery Jones on the break side to Leslie Willis for the score.
Yeah, Astra trying to put on a zone look after that last turn, and Super Bloom just really able to patiently work it through that zone and look downfield for those holes.
Great job by all parties involved on Super Bloom, being really patient, really well done. And on Astra's downfield, you can see those cuts coming off the vert stack. They're doing a great job of bracketing and taking those away. At the end of the first quarter, it looked like some of the handlers with the disc were getting a little frustrated downfield and how kind of slowly they had to work it back with each other because that bracketing was so effective. Interesting to see how both teams will adjust as the game goes on.
Yeah, I definitely would want to see Super Bloom downfield with those brackets, really attacking either both, sending two cutters either both under or deep, and making Astra's defense really choose and match up again.
And a zone look as they're trying to trap quickly on the sideline. We have in the cup Ellis, Stamba, Trevino, and Stevens. Ooh.
And
call.
Somehow Helton ending up with possession of the disc, but a possible call from O'Connor on just how she got that disc.
Okay. Contested foul. Was there a count at all? No count? Okay. 4, 3, 2, 1, disc in.
Ella Mellick on the far side. Ella Mellick looking for an option. No mark. Back to 23. 23, Connie Wang. Connie Wang back to Ella Mellick. Ella Mellick swings it across the field to O'Connor. That wind is making it hang there. O'Connor gets it in the air. Looks Pritchard off.
Super Bloom now in transition to person defense.
Super Bloom with that hard trap. Oh, we have a hammer up and back to the middle of the field. Great hammer from Connie Wang. That's not easy. O'Connor uncorks it to Pritchard, and Pritchard does a little ballerina tiptoe turnaround for the score.
Just able to spin, keep eyes on that disc, and ensure that Astra scores that point. Yeah, great look from Connie Wang on Astra. I noticed that she's got a wealth of experience having played on 7 figs. Let's take a look at that.
See that replay. What a great touchy throw by O'Connor just over Lindsay Lang to Pritchard. Very technical throw. Score is 4-4. We are, I believe, on serve, and Astra is pulling.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see Super Bloom's O-line figure out a way to get past that bracket that Astra has been able to leverage against them. And that way the handlers are able to break through and get some movement downfield to the cutters.
Iwamoto with the disc, approaching that 7 count. Jumps it to Avery Jones. Avery Jones looks upfield. Iwamoto cutting up break side. Oh, with the great bid to keep possession on that break side up line.
She just went flying.
Dumps to Maldonado. Maldonado dumps it over to Bajunas. Bajunas hits deep for Salvation. And it is D'd by Elimelech. Salvation, my apologies. Elimelech walks it up to the front. Straight up mark from Salvation. Elimelech dumps it back to the middle. Igawa with the disc.
Getting a little messy downfield.
Astra's really... Astra uncorks it deep. First number 66 downfield. Norris looking for a dump. Guzman with the disc. Guzman looking back. Guzman dumps to Igawa. Igawa looking up. Dumps back to Guzman. Guzman fakes the inside. Breaks it on the round to Elimelech, but that might be a stall. Ooh, clutch timeout called by the Astra to keep possession.
Yeah, and with those timeout calls, it is good to keep in mind that the stall does reset to 0. So if that were close to getting to stall 7, this is a great time for Astra to get back down to 0 and probably put out a little bit of an offensive pull play to make sure they get the score on what will be a break against Super Bloom.
Yeah, this would be huge for the Astra. Astra's really hitting a lot of these inside break throws.
Let's take a look at the standings here. So as of week 6, we do see Tempest at the top with a record of 3-0, and for the two teams playing in this game, we see Super Bloom just on the edge of the top 4 with a 1-1 record, and Astra coming off of last weekend now with a 1-2 record with that win over Utah.
This game's incredibly important for both teams. I mean, both teams are trying to make the playoffs. Both teams need to have a good weekend. We're going to have at least one odd person out by the end of the weekend, and both teams do not want it to be them. Conway with the disc, looks break side. Hits O'Connor coming back to the live side from the break side. O'Connor looks up. What a wonderful grab by Brooke Woolridge. Woolridge looks for a dump. Woolridge throws it up line to O'Connor, and O'Connor keeps her toes in for the score.
Yeah, that was a crucial point for Astra, now bringing them in a lead with that break against Super Bloom. I think that timeout was an incredibly smart, strategic choice on Astra's part, again, for resetting the stall and then being able to pull that play out to get the score.
And we see a replay of it here. You see this incredible grab by Woolridge, and she stays very patient, looks for her options. O'Connor comes and just gets this upline. And Astra's upline game today has really been outstanding. They're just powering through.
Yeah, Brooke Woolridge with that go-go gadget stretch to make sure she's able to come down with that disc.
They sub off Maldonado for Lang on the O-line. We have Maldonado off, maybe come out on a D point, and their O-line's gonna try to get back to business.
Yeah, Lang is definitely a power thrower, so I'm wondering if they're looking for her to do a deep shot.
And whoever that puller was definitely plays darts, because that was a bullseye right in bounds. Iwamoto looking to move the disc, approaching stall 7, dumps it off to Lang. Lang turns it, throws a nice under. And it looks like it's a violation on the field.
Looks like we have Iwamoto and Obara talking about the call.
Do you think Obara's trying to call a stall?
Stall is the call. Yeah. Can you guys resolve it? Contested?
Contested, yeah.
All right, so observer ruling is not a stall, just gets there.
Yeah, it was definitely a high count, but Iwamoto was able to get that throw off before the S in 7 was said by Obara on the mark.
Yeah. We're noticing that zone really clamp down on their defenders once they get to stall about 5 or so. Move it over to Avery Jones. Avery Jones moves it on the sideline to Bajunas. Bajunas moves it back. Iwamoto in the middle. Fakes it over the top. Back to Lang. And they're just working through this box. They're working through this diamond, this little 3-2-2 or 3-3-1. Looks like Astra's starting to clamp down a little bit, though.
Looks like we're back to person.
Ooh, Kelton has Helton's open under, but it gets the dump off to Avery Jones. Moves it to Lang. Lang moves it to Messner. Messner looking upfield. Hits Bajunas. Messner's moving. Bajunas. Oh, with the great catch by Lindsay Lang. Moves it upfield to Avery Jones. Lang clears through. Looking to Iwamoto to fill. Iwamoto with the upline. Gets it with another bid. And that is in for a score.
Iwamoto definitely bidding to just make sure that catch was caught in the end zone and able to bail out Avery Jones there in that end zone stat.
That's two catches in the front corner of the end zone for incredible uplines, one from O'Connor, one from Iwamoto. And I wonder if it's maybe not by design that they're putting it in that corner specifically, but both teams are really making athletic plays.
Yeah, I wonder how much of the win has a play in that, if the disc is kind of getting pushed into a space where the players have to make some more athletic catches to make sure it's caught in the end zone.
And I bet both coaches are talking to their teams about trying to keep it on that far side of the field, keep it where the wind is. We have this wonderful catch by Jones in the beginning of the point.
And then we have Jones looking, and Iwamoto just hitting the ground to make sure she maintains possession of that disc.
And keeping her feet in the end zone, which is pretty stunning to say the least, too. Weaver with the disc on the far side. Weaver looks upfield to O'Connor. O'Connor has the disc on the far side, uncorks it deep to Elimelech. And you think she's done that more than once on this field?
I'd say so, yeah. Familiar territory for Elimelech.
O'Connor to Elimelech for the score, and I probably won't be saying that for the only time today either.
Yeah, definitely. And that is a very quick O point on Astra's part. So I think Super Bloom needs to talk about how, again, key point of this game is containing those dominant players, O'Connor and Elimelech, and their connection on the field being a point to manage. Let's see O'Connor shooting again, and just a nice, easy run by Elimelech for the score.
It's perfect. Ooh, a little wave into the camera. Okay, we have about 3 minutes left in the quarter. We see Elimelech already making her stamp on this game with a little one in each category. 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 block. Astra with the pull. Pull goes up. And out of bounds pretty early on. That might be close enough for Super Bloom to start with red zone offense, if anything. Depending on where the spot is.
It definitely depends on what kind of defense Astra decides to set, if they're going to continue with their diamond zone look. But yeah, it looks like we're walking up the field closer and closer to that end zone. So might not be the best time to put on a zone defense. Here we go.
Iwamoto breaks it on the side to Jones. Jones looks upfield, looks for a break throw. Back to Iwamoto. Iwamoto looks upfield, hits a live side under. Number 21, Nicole Love, comes back to Iwamoto. Iwamoto to Hannah Walters. Hannah Walters gives a nice fake. Back to Iwamoto. Walters up line. Here comes the break fill by Avery Jones. Avery Jones looks upfield to Salvation for the score, and what a wonderful throw!
That was beautiful. Let's see if we can get a replay of that set. Was that not the cleanest end zone set? Just fill, swing, up line. All right, here's that replay. Iwamoto holstering it, seeing Jones for the fill, and then Jones seeing Salvation just right on the line there to get the score.
And that's an incredibly tough throw past a bidding Igawa right there, making it difficult. That is a very difficult throw. Very well done. And we are 6-6. We are approaching 2 minutes left in the quarter, so these teams do have to keep the clock in mind. Helton with the pull.
Yeah, in these last 2 minutes of the quarter, the clock will stop for every call, so that helps a little bit with time, but definitely with this tied score, both teams wanting to get a goal in and get a leg up on the other team.
And it looks like Super Bloom's coming with a zone of their own, with Trevino being the middle one there, looking to make a play.
Another tall cup here with Stevens, Trevino, and Ellis.
Oh, they mark it back inside. Wang looking for someone. Sees Weaver. Weaver dumps it to number 82, Pagella. And they're keeping it on that sideline. They don't want to be there. Moving it laterally. Joe disc, and oh, a tough throwaway for the Astra.
Yeah, just a little bit of a miscommunication there.
Lang moves up to Helton. Lang goes up line, catches it. Sees a streaking Bajunis, thinks better of it. Hits Trevino. Trevino near the end zone. Super Bloom knocking on the door in the corner. Bajunis dumps it back to the middle, dumps it back to Lang. Lang looks to continue. Hits Helton on the live side. Helton on the sideline. Astra switches on the team D, and they lose Lang, and that will be for the lead with a minute left in the second quarter.
That was a beautiful use of space by Lang, seeing that her defender kind of wrote her off once in the end zone, and then Helton also able to see that and just put it in for the score. Let's see that again. Yeah. Here we see Pajunas to Lang, and we see Helton and Lang. Looks like Lang is...
Yeah, we see a little bit of a miscommunication between Wooldridge and Elimelech on who's going to take on that mark, on that switch back to that streaking upline cut by Lang.
Yeah, a switch for the upline is definitely a great strategy, but if both players are not in the same mindset when it happens, something like that can occur, and just leaving one of the offense a little uncontested for throws.
7-6 Super Bloom, minute left to go. Pulls in. Centers to Igawa. Igawa looking downfield. Sees O'Connor. O'Connor open. No mark. O'Connor uncorks it to Weaver. Weaver and Pajunas fighting in the air, and Pajunas gets the block. Another block in the deep space for Pajunas.
It's really a lesson that I think any team in this league should pay mind to, is that Pajunas in the deep space will always be a threat.
She definitely does it well. See Hayla Helton in the deep space. Pajunas sees a wide open number 89, Brenda Stevens. Back to Ellis. Ellis to Lang. Ellis looking for options. Ellis with a disc. Remember, they do not have to score by 0. That'll be the last possession. Keeping possession is Super Bloom. Ellis looking for an option. Ooh, and Stevens was getting poached. Oh,
unfortunate. Yeah, the clock had run out on that possession, so once again, either a score or turn, and that will end the quarter. And that is half for us, with Super Bloom 7, Astra 6.
Okay.
Let's
take another look at this D by Pajunas.
All right, so we see that shot to Weaver, but Pajunas in the deep space, just fighting for that position and confidently taking away. And then we see that miscommunication there with Pajunas to Helton. And here you can see the fans for Beach Bowl this weekend. This is again held in San Diego, so nice sunny day for some ultimate watching.
It's a little bit chilly. It's around 70 degrees.
yeah, a little cold for us.
But thank you for everyone who came out to show up, and we will take you to the third quarter when we come back.
We believe that women and non-binary athletes deserve to be seen and our abilities showcased for the world to see.
We believe in perpetuating Ultimate by establishing professional teams and developing future generations of players.
We believe players of all identities and backgrounds deserve an equal opportunity to be recognized and lauded for our achievements in our sport.
We believe
in sustainably and responsibly creating equitable and accessible avenues for women and non-binary athletes to join and participate in our sport.
We believe that being transparent,
open,
and responsive to criticism is critical,
and that there should always be space
to fix our mistakes,
grow, and be better.
We are the Western Ultimate League.
I really want to show young girls that they can be athletes too. I've struggled with imposter syndrome, and I've really had to ground myself in why I play. I play because it's fun. I like to compete. I like to show it with my teammates. I like to push myself to be the best. And I think being out there and doing that for them and having other people see and potentially think that, hey, that can be me one day, that's really exciting.
I know I've struggled in my own life to take up space, and I think that it's so amazing that the ultimate field has changed that for me. That I can get out there and I'm no, I know I am a good cutter and I know what I need to do here and I know my role on the team. And I think that it's just helped me open up so much. It's also led to more confidence for myself, and I really want for other women and non-binary folk to see that, oh, they're out there doing this. How do I get into that? What does that look like? What's my role there?
I really liked the combination of both endurance and shorter, more competitive sprints, and then also going up directly against players. And I think that also is what attracted me to Ultimate as well. Understanding what you're capable of doing is just a really great experience that kind of drives you to just get better at those individual skills in sports.
My Ultimate story, I've been fortunate to have coaches and friends and the community to encourage me to be the player that I am today and ultimately fall in love with the sport of Ultimate. So I hope that the Western Ultimate League, like this program we have today, the Open Side, we continue to connect and welcome new fans and future players and continue growing this community that we all love. I think hopefully one day that someone will fall in love with the sport as much as I love it.
I think that's the biggest thing for me, is just knowing that we're giving an opportunity and visibility to the sport for young women. It's the best thing.
One more time. Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Baby!
Cody!
And welcome back to the second half of the LA Astra and San Diego Super Bloom WUL game, and it is going pretty competitively. We see Super Bloom has a slight lead, but based on how the Astra have played, it could really go the other way. We see that overall San Diego has a few more holds, a little bit more clean holds, both equivalent on turnovers, both equivalent on breaks. Super Bloom has had more break chances, but just hasn't put them in like we'd expect them to.
Yeah, and I think what we were discussing before the game in that we're trying to see Super Bloom connect on those deep shots, and I think some of the break chances that we've seen they'll get the movement going, and then there will be a deep look that just hasn't quite connected yet. So hopefully something Super Bloom is discussing coming out of this half. As for Astra, what do you think that they're going to work on going into the second half?
I think Astra has done a really good job of getting these kind of like jailbreak, stall 6, inside flicks, inside backhands off, and has done a really good job of executing, connecting on those in this win. Those are not easy throws. I would think that their coaches maybe don't want them to have to make those throws, but the players themselves have really been executing quite well on those. As far as some changes, maybe having the Astra handlers and cutters get into position a little bit quicker in those spots where they can hit open space might make this a little bit easier. So as far as some jerseys, we have these wonderful Astra jerseys. Really going with the star theme here.
Yeah, I think they were last weekend they were discussing the name of their version of Poppy, and I think they were going with Supernova. But for all of those Astra fans out there, be sure to visit Astra's website, and you can shop for merch. You can get your favorite player's number, name on your jersey. I really like the logo design that Astra has.
And looking at San Diego's, I really like the Super Bloom theme they went with. That's a very San Diego thing that we don't see as much as we should in our San Diego pop culture. Very original.
And I like how it's come through in our mascot as well, the homemade Poppy. Some of our very own players actually created that mascot, and if you want to rep Super Bloom, be sure to visit their store on their site as well. We get a look here at those Super Bloom jerseys. Beautiful Poppy, pop of color on the side there. Just clean looks.
Yeah, very, very solid. And you don't always see orange that much on jerseys. It's kind of nice to see as a little accent.
Yeah, not enough to be mistaken for observers, but enough color to make those jerseys pop.
And both teams get their 7 on the line. It looks like for the Astra we have Camille Wilson. It looks like we have pulling number 93, Naomi Guzman.
Yeah, it looks like we have a lot of their strong defensive players, Barreto, Igawa, Ash, out there ready to play some shutdown D on Super Bloom here for the O point out of the second half.
Hole comes up, and it hangs a long time. They might not be able to get a reset throw off, and they don't. Maldonado stranded with the disc. Looking for Iwamoto, stall rising. Gets it off to Iwamoto. Iwamoto in the middle, steps out, throws a great backhand to Salvation. Salvation fakes, looks back to a dump, hits Avery Jones on the sideline. Salvation clears up field, and Avery Jones throws it in. Oh, not quite there.
I'm wondering if a foul was called. Yeah, it looks like there was a foul called, because that was a kind of uncharacteristic throw for Jones to let off. Let's see if we can listen into the call from with the observer there. Looks like, is that Roy on Astra discussing with Jones?
89.
Oh no, it looks like it is Brittany Grimshaw on the mark.
Observers discussing. Doing a great job of covering their mouths, so we have no idea what's going on. And it looks like it is a foul. Dumps it back to Willis in the middle. Willis continues the swing to Salvation. Salvation makes a tough catch. Looks upfield. Dumps it back to Leslie Willis, who shakes her defender. Leslie Willis continues it. Oh, and 2 defenders in the same area, and Maldonado does come down with it on the second attempt. Iwamoto breaks that up line. Back to Willis in the middle. Willis continues to Helton. Helton looks one more. Goes back to Willis, who makes... Oh, almost makes that diving grab back.
Unfortunate. Definitely going there for the bid and just losing control of the disc upon hitting the ground. Igawa to pick up for Astra.
Ooh, Astra catches a break right there, dumps it back.
Iwamoto hunting for that D, trying to get that possession back to Super Bloom.
Ooh, and Astra uncorks it to Emily Ash.
Helton there to say no this time.
Oof. Another great D in the deep space by Super Bloom. Super Bloom's done a great job of shutting that down today. Willis picks up. Willis looks up to Helton on the break side. Helton fakes to hopefully a deep look. And it looks like there's a little confusion in the backfield. Helton looking for a dump. And Helton punts it, but that punt might be completed to Emily Ash. Oh, no.
That's
to Avery Jones. Rival number 11.
That was definitely a high stall punt by Helton there, and Jones able to get great position on that disc and bail it out. And then we have a timeout call from Super Bloom, from Angela Wells. We'll see. You know, we do already have the O-line on there, so I don't expect subs coming in, but probably discussing a red zone play coming out of this timeout.
Interesting to see what they come out with, making sure that they punch it in, and they're pretty fortunate to still have it in the red zone with that catch.
Yeah, I think again the defense, Super Bloom defense in the deep space, they see that Astra wants to get it to their players downfield, and Super Bloom is just there making sure those deep shots don't connect on.
And as we come here, Kayla Helton did connect on that deep throw, and she's been in the game quite a bit today.
All right, so we do have offense set up, and now Astra is setting up D.
It's like Iwamoto here to pick up.
That is a great set waiting there. Iwamoto, Jones, and Helton in the front space. Lefty backhand.
UCSD lefty backhand right there. Dumps back into Iwamoto. Iwamoto continues to Leslie Willis. Leslie Willis on the break side. Willis fakes again. Ooh, there's a right-handed backhand back to Iwamoto. Iwamoto fakes. Big backhand, a bidding Helton. Oh, and Helton tries to sneak a lefty backhand in a great mark by the Astra right there.
Yeah, Camille Wilson just seeing Helton zero in on that shot and able to block it.
Ooh, and Super Bloom coming with it looks like a one-throw zone to corner him in the ends, corner him on that sideline, and that's very difficult to pull off. Like they have had to practice a lot on that. Really cool to see that.
Looks like a timeout from Astra this time. That is a timeout each for this point. So both teams trying to come back in with patience, take some time. Let's see that hand block again by Camille Wilson.
Oh, just reads it very well. Great job by Wilson right there. Both teams look to reset their O-lines, or reset their O-line. Super Bloom might get some defensive players on there. Looks like Trevino's coming on, as well as some other defensive players.
Yeah, we see Ellis coming in, Lexa Stamba. I think Astra is definitely going to come out of this with a pull play. They have a lot of yards to cover to get down to their end zone. So I would imagine as they filter in some of their O-line players, they're probably looking for Pritchard or O'Connor or even Weaver going deep. They have a lot of options of players who are able to come down with 50-50 shots if necessary.
And it looks like Super Bloom coming out with a zone look in this wind. Weighing on the sideline, trapped, and gets it. Oh, and it worked. The zone, the little four-man cup definitely resulted in a turn. Great job by Super Bloom.
Yeah, and over the top throw that just did not connect.
Lang with the disc. Lang looks, fakes, comes back to Ellis. Ellis in the middle. Ellis looking for downfield cutters. Sees Helton, but with the wind, that's tough, and a great grab. Oh, and Helton might be hurt.
Yeah, some contact on that play there.
Let's hope she's okay.
You know, luckily Sharon Singh is a sports chiropractor, the defender that is on her right there, so able to help if needed.
Wonder if we'll see a call here. But Sang with the disc.
Yeah, it looked like Helton is not subbing off, able to continue playing D on this point.
Sang moves it upfield to number 82, Pagela. And looks like she is kind of trapped there, looking for options, and punts it, hopefully, to Pritchard. Oof. Oof.
Wow. Sharon Sang able to come down with that throw, even with Pajunas out there hunting for that D.
Wang looking for options. Wang sees Elemelec. Nice and patient, but there might be a stall right here.
Yeah,
Superbloom's motioning stall.
That was definitely a high stall throw. We'll see if they're able to talk this out. Looks like it's going to observers, possibly. I think there was some confusion on Superbloom's part. There was a transition to person defense, and there might have been, it looks like Ellie.
Stall called here.
Oh, stall further back.
Who was the thrower?
By Ellis.
Wow.
I just love that Ellis waited there, knowing, you know, that she made the right call. There was a stall there, just waiting for everyone else on the field to catch up and realize.
Weren't those moments great when you're running really hard and there was a call about 20 seconds ago? We're still waiting to see a result. Looks like Sang is going to keep the disc back at the second stall call.
Free stall 4.
I'm seeing a pretty open Elemelec. Looks like Helton is picking up.
Dishes to O'Connor. O'Connor looks up, and we got another call.
Travel, possibly.
This is some quality ultimate right here.
Yeah, definitely a lot of calls, I think. Let's see if Astra can get into a flow here.
Another call. Man, I just love seeing calls.
Yeah, that was a pick call. Just a reminder that in the WUL, picks are within 6 feet, not the usual 10 feet that most of us are used to.
Sang with the disc again. Sang looking for a dump. Hits Pagela. Pagela looks upfield. Hits Wang. Wang with the disc. Fakes a few times. Sees an open Weaver. Dishes it to Weaver. Weaver looking upfield. Pritchard going deep. Looks dump to Pagela. Pagela looking for the break. Continue to Wang. Wang looking upfield again. Sees O'Connor on the live side. Hits O'Connor. O'Connor dumps it over to, it looks like Sang. And Pagela to Elemelec for the score, but it looks like we had some contact in the end zone.
Looks like it was unrelated, so Astra able to keep that score. I gotta say, the O-line that Astra brought out after that second timeout on this point, just really looking comfortable out there, able to move it along, holster when needed. Let's look at a replay here. Wang to O'Connor. You can just see that they're comfortable just throwing to each other, not trying to force anything, and just able to move it to all of those open receivers.
They're doing a great job on their vert stack cutting. When they cut break side under, they continue it by breaking live side. You saw O'Connor get it there. I believe we saw Sang maybe get it earlier on one of those break side unders, and then continuing to the live side. You have the pull up.
Pretty quick pool there. Again, on pools, 60 seconds. The offense has 40 seconds to signal for readiness, and then defense has 20 seconds from that signal to pull the disc.
Astra starting off with the zone look, looking to Iwamoto. Iwamoto breaks it through the zone.
Jessica Wan with the disc, looking for a dump.
Gives it to Hannah Walters. Hannah Walters dumps it to Maldonado. Maldonado back to Walters, and they're just moving up the sideline. And they look to swing it back. Continuing up the sideline, Maldonado. Oh, with the wonderful defense by Lexi Roy. Great block.
That was great heads-up D by Lexi Roy, just able to see that Superbloom wanted it downfield and tipping it just out of bounds. Let's see how Astra responds.
And that is Camille Wilson. Camille Wilson with the disc looking upfield. Looks for the inside. Hits Emily Ash. Emily Ash, tries to get it to
Aubrey Brown, known for bids and great catches.
And now Brown and Elemelec are on the same team on this field as opposed to Santa Barbara and UCSD. Walters with the disc. Gives it back to Iwamoto. Iwamoto looking up against this. Astra staying in this zone. This little 3-3-1.
I think communication for Super Bloom is key here. They have 4 back, and they just need to make sure they are communicating who's crashing, who's through, who's open for the swing. Oh!
And is that Lexi Roy again with another block? Wow. Incredible job. Lexi Roy with a great grab. Looking upfield, gives a fake. Dumps it back to 17. Gets us number 26. And that is another timeout for Astra. They are leaving no meat on the bone when it comes to these timeouts.
Yeah, I think they see an opportunity here with the score now tied at 7-7. They want this break, right? It
yes,
would be a break. Yeah, they want this break. They want to get ahead and really, in these last 3 minutes of the third quarter, show Super Bloom that. Oh, let's take a look at the replay. First block by Lexi Roy. Great heads up, just tipping it out of reach of that Super Bloom player. And again, Lexi Roy running through.
Just great anticipation by Roy, just knowing that they want to march it up that far sideline. And I noticed against this like 3-3-1 that Astra's running out, it's their Super Bloom doesn't want to go over the top of it. They really want to go through the zone and through it and keep it on that far sideline. And they're starting to run into some of the troubles that the wind's bringing in of fewer options to get it over the top of this zone.
Yeah, definitely. We do see that Super Bloom is trying to work the disc through the cup rather than over it, trying to value the possession more and take less chances on those risky over-the-top throws.
And Super Bloom coming out in a poaching set against the Astra's vert stack. Let's see how they go through it. O'Connor goes under. Pritchard goes under. O'Connor to the break side. Oh, they tried the tough dump back to Zhang. And you wonder if they kept their eyes up a little farther, longer downfield, they would have seen O'Connor as someone open for them. Tough play. But they get it right back.
Great diving bid by Pagella there.
Man, that's a great block when you need it the most. Pagella starts out in space. Zhang on the upline to Pagella. And someone missed their mark. A little miscommunication by Bloom to Pritchard. Pritchard on the sideline. Pritchard looks up. Oh, and a miscommunication, but it works out. Ella in the middle with the disc. Ella with the easy score.
Yeah,
Weaver?
Yep, that was Weaver with a score, and it does look like there was some miscommunication on who was picking up who for Super Bloom, and Astra was able to capitalize and just take an easy throw into space, and now they are up 8-7.
Man, and Astra really came back. They were down coming in, but they got 2 straight breaks to start off with a few minutes left in the quarter.
Let's take a look at that block again. We see that great bid from Pagella. And then we see Ellie Mellick just throwing a nice open throw to Weaver.
And these poaching sets, when they're effective, they're incredibly effective. But when they start to break down, it gets tough.
Yeah, I think definitely help from the sideline, making sure that all of those players on the field are able to pick up who's open on offense and make sure they're cinching down on those. Let's see.
Astra with the pull. Goes about halfway. And it looks like Astra's coming out again in their 3-3-1. And it looks like that far front is becoming a little bit of a short deep, but the 3-3-1 holds true. Marks are kind of suffocating Avery Jones right there. Iwamoto sends it back to Walters. Walters makes the catch. Walters moves it up to Jones. Jones moves it up to Sue. Walters again with the disc. Hits Willis on the side. And Astra's doing a great job of keeping their 3 marks and their 3 fronts in good position. They are not breaking down.
Yeah, and Super Bloom able to just patiently throw these small dishes to each other, really working the disc and valuing the possession.
You know, these zone looks are so much more effective with a 7-count stall as opposed to 10. There's just so much fewer time to fewer seconds to look downfield for that continue. Makes the tight window to Iwamoto. Iwamoto downfield. Jones through. Oh, they need to get a dump off now. And Iwamoto gets a nice break off to Jones, and Jones floats it up, and oh, you hate to see it.
Looks like there might be an injury with the Astra defender. Possibly came down weird on that jump.
Looks like it is Brittany Grimshaw. Let's hope she's okay. Let's hope it's just cramps. And they pull her off.
They're able to scoot her off the field, probably get a sub in there, making sure that she's okay. Let's take a look at that replay. We see Avery Jones putting up that floaty disc.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that is
that one back.
That is a small window for Salvation to be able to make that grab and stay in bounds, especially with the defender pressuring from behind as well.
Igawa picks up on the corner. I'm surprised you don't see Super Bloom go with that same four-man stack. I know they have different personnel, but you think they would throw a little something on the corner. But they're moving it Ash's moving it laterally very well.
Seems like there is not a mark on Obara there. Lang picking up.
Dump it back to the middle of the field. Ooh, to Camille Wilson. Wilson looks upfield. Gets it to Igawa. Igawa looking downfield.
Stranded.
There's someone open for him, though. As Naomi Guzman gets the disc back. Guzman dumps it back to Igawa. Great grab. Igawa hits the break throw downfield to
Veronica Yee, but it looks like there might be a pick call. Might explain how she was able to be open, though she is, I've played with her on Lotus. She is a very quick cutter, so definitely able to get open.
And Yee starts off. Ooh, Guzman goes break side up line. They can't quite get it to her,
oh
but the
my
assist.
goodness.
And that was drawn up. Camille Wilson with the disc. As Kruger clears up line.
Obara with the disc now, back to Igawa.
Moving it up. Oh, and Brown uncorks. Oh, and Walters gets there for the D.
That was great teamwork. I think good, safe pressure by Iwamoto behind the Astra receiver, and then Hannah Walter able to tip that disc just over their head.
And this will be the last possession of the quarter, so Super Bloom just really needs to make sure they don't turn it over here. Hopefully can put it in. Although I would kind of like to see a Callahan to end the quarter. That'd be pretty exciting.
Unfortunate miscommunication, and that does that should end the quarter. It looks like there might be a little bit of confusion on the field, but as time did run out with Super Bloom's possession, that is the end of the third quarter, and we are looking at Astra up 8-7.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at this replay. We see Brown just letting off that deep shot. Kruger not able to catch that when there's a Super Bloom sandwich of Walters and Iwamoto there to both tip the disc just out of reach.
And I wonder if their wind maybe shifted their internal timers a little bit, but it looked pretty, it's definitely a playable disc. I think Astra wants that one back, though.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right, and get your drinks and come back shortly for the fourth quarter. It will be exciting. Astra leads 8-7. And we're back to the final quarter of a pivotal LA versus San Diego game. Move it to Wang in the middle. Super Bloom comes out in a zone of some sort. Looks like some kind of box or trappy kind of zone meant to put them in this precarious position that they find themselves in now.
Yeah, definitely leaving a lot of space for these short little handler throws, but probably trying to challenge any of those over the top throws that Astra might be seeing downfield.
Wang with the disc, looking for an option, Get a little bit trapped. Weaver with the disc, looking for a bailout, and they start to move to the sideline to Pritchard. Pritchard moves it back to Weaver. Weaver fakes. Moves it to Pritchard on the right side. Moves it to O'Connor on that sideline. It is on the high side, but they don't want to be on the sideline either. Moves it back to O'Connor. O'Connor's looking to swing it. Back to Weaver right in the middle of that four-man cup. And that four-man cup is starting to suffocate quite a bit. One of them drops off. They might be going into person soon. Yep. Oh.
Woo. Able to hang on to that. Ooh.
Bummer.
Yeah, Wang able to hang on to that disc there, but just a miscommunication turnover. Now Super Bloom has a chance to break.
Helton swings it to WUL. WUL goes to Ellis, and Ellis cannot come down with it. A little bit high from WUL.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much of the wind is a factor there. Ellis not known for those kinds of drops.
And Brooke Woolridge with the disc. Woolridge uncorks to O'Connor for the score, and we got to see a replay of that throw. That was incredible throw by Woolridge, and O'Connor is just loving it. And then with the celebration. Wow. And that just goes to show how...
Let's see that throw. Wang to Woolridge, who just sees O'Connor downfield. Beautiful placement.
Yeah.
And O'Connor just able to reel that in.
Wonderful throw from the high. They go back to the high side and come in over the shoulder of the defender.
All right, let's see how San Diego Super Bloom O-line does.
Astra coming in with the pull. Pull. And the pull is up. And Elliott's coming down. And this zone that they're using was so effective against Utah last week and really helped them garner their first win of the season. And it looks like it's going to be very effective, although Super Bloom finally figured it out, and they are carving it up. Coaches make sure they're patient. It looks like Astra's coming back into a person defense as Super Bloom moves it across the field. Aldonado, oh, to Jones, and just gets it past a bidding Elimelech. And wow, that was an incredible bid. Back to Iwamoto, and Iwamoto to Salvation for the score. But the story of that red zone was an almost incredible block by Elimelech right there.
Yeah, that was a great use of the break space after Super Bloom was able to move it up the line on the open side. Let's see a replay. To Iwamoto, beautiful break throw.
And if you're a newer player and you want to take any notes, highly recommend you watch Iwamoto's nice big step-out backhand. Not only is it accurate and it has power every time, but her breaks have been incredible off that solid step-out backhand. So if you're a younger player, maybe you're in high school, maybe you're in college, definitely work on that throw because Iwamoto has used it brilliantly this season.
Yeah, a great, effective tool that Super Bloom definitely is able to capitalize on.
Super Bloom with the pull. And it comes in. They're really trying to trap him right there on that sideline. Catches the pull, centers it into Wang. Wang looking back to Pagella. Pagella with the disc, looking for O'Connor. And Super Bloom has this poachy defense again on the Astra set. Astra's looking for the open person on these poachy D. Sends it to Weaver on the high side. Weaver on the sideline, dumps it back to Wang. Wing swings it to O'Connor. O'Connor looking for options, See someone come break side. O'Connor looks for the inside break, gets it there.
Mazer with the disc now.
Ooh, and that's stall 6, another stall 6, stall 7 shot by Astra to try to get it off, and just got to start moving a little earlier.
Super Bloom's defense really able to clog up the downfield.
Ellis bounces it, moves up line, end up swinging back to Jones. Jones to Salvation. Oh, and put Junis to the rescue. Junis looks back for the dump. It's Fang. Fang with the disc. Fang dumps to Ellis. Fang runs up line. Oh, Pajunas. Oh, had a wide open 25-yard under. Just couldn't quite see it. Moves it to Avery Jones on the break side. Just, to Salvation, and just another unfortunate drop. Do we have a call? Looks like there's some kind of call.
It might have been an equipment call on Pritchard.
Goes back to the age-old frisbee question: is equipment a call? O'Connor with the disc in the middle, looks for options. And another unfortunate drop, and it's hard. It's hard to have happen, but you gotta shake it off and move on. Stombaugh starting off with the disc, move it to Salvation. Salvation moves it back to Jones. Jones looking for options, more break space. Oh, and another unfortunate turn, and this is not going the way that both teams want it to go, but especially San Diego, who's starting to run out of time a little bit. Oh, and there's that inside break. They weren't, not going to get away with it forever.
I think both teams could really benefit from some patience, taking a deep breath. Oh, not in.
And scoring.
Ellis just making sure Super Bloom is. Looks like there is a call, a pick call.
Maybe the Ellis's defender ran into the mark. It was quite close.
Yeah, that's possible. It was a small space.
It was a while ago.
Looks like it was before that score, so it is going back to Kayla Helton. But yeah, I think both teams on this point need to take a deep breath. Patient,
you called it when she had
100% throws.
You called it when she had the disc?
Observer trying to figure out the time of the pick call.
And it seems like everyone's trying to sort through this confusion in their own minds.
Yeah, this.
Okay, then we're one throw up here.
And they send it
coming in here.
Right back to where we thought it would be.
Pre-stall 4.
Looks like we have Stambaugh with the disc.
Right on the goal line. Looking for a dump.
Oh, Helton comes back for the 7 cut and gets it in the end zone. Great job by Kayla Helton working in small space. Stambaugh's kind of stuck there. Just looking for that 7. 7 wasn't quite there. Helton makes it happen.
Yeah, Super Bloom definitely needed that score. We're now back to 9-9. I'd say the line that they had out there kind of looked like a kill line. There was a good mix of O and D players, and I think they made sure the line they had out there was able to play defense on a turn, but also able to punch it in. Let's take a look at a replay here. So we see that block by Jones on the high stall throw from Astra, and then we see Helton just using, like you said, that small space in the end zone to give Stambaugh an option.
Yeah. Speaking of a kill line, we have Pajunas and Helton on the same line. So we will see who gets a deep block on this round.
Yeah, definitely looking to take away those deep looks from Astra with both Helton and Pajunas on this Super Bloom D line.
Stambaugh comes down hard on the pole, moving it to Wilson on the sideline. Oh, and here's that big trap from Super Bloom. Oh, and she finds an option in Roy. Sorry, in Guzman. Guzman looking for options, finds Brown. Brown starts swinging the disc to Kruger. Kruger moves it up to Wilson again. To Roy. Roy looking for options. Ooh, starting to run out of time. Moves it back to Guzman. Guzman looking for options. Guzman hits Ash. Ash looking upfield. Throws it under to Reeves. Oh!
huge hand block by Pajunas. You know, we said she would take away the deep space, but she's also there on the mark, taking away those easy resets.
Pajunas just having the game of the season. This is incredible. Over/under on 5 blocks by the end of the game?
Over, definitely.
Oh, and speaking of hand blocks, it looks like Roy gets in there herself.
Responding hand block.
And Superbloom wants to move it a little quicker. Moves it to Guzman. Guzman moves it over again, and Wilson with a good bailout. Helen Superbloom switches off the marks. Oh, good grab by Kruger. Kruger looking for options. Sees these unders. Hits Wilson, but Helton's right there for the bid. Not quite there. Gives it to Brown. Another bid. Oh, and from one knee hits the continuing swing to the end zone for a score.
Astra just capitalizing on that quick movement, staying ahead of their defenders, but Superbloom defense really putting on the pressure that point. We see that big hand block from Pajunas, but also just really tight handler D from Superbloom, making Astra work for that point. Let's get a replay. We see that bid, and then from the knee,
wow,
to score.
Guzman's had a great game today.
Yeah,
He's
definitely.
very reliable, getting this little Swiss Army knife. Whenever they're in trouble, Guzman gets them out of it.
Yeah, and that was Megan Reeves with that quick catch in the end zone.
Wilson stays on for the Astra D-line.
Yeah, Wilson had a really strong point, along with a strong game this first game here.
Looks like Igawa is with the pull. Pull goes up. Lands about the 40-yard line. Maldonado going to pick up. Oh, and it looks like some kind of call. Looks like an offsides.
Set. We're going to be at midfield.
I was going to say, Astra has a very interesting strategic plan. But nope, just being offsides.
10 seconds offense, 10 seconds.
And in the literal middle of the field, looks like Maldonado with the disc.
3, 2,
Wilson on the mark.
1. Offense freeze,
Astra.
offense freeze, offense freeze.
Oh, calling for offense to freeze.
Like
Someone move early.
It's just like a timeout, okay? Offense is frozen, defense, you've got 20 seconds to check it in.
A little clarification on the rules regarding moving before the disc. In WUL, you can move with 4 seconds on the pre-stall, as opposed to in USAU, where you have to stay until the disc is checked in. Back to Maldonado on the far end. Back to Wilson. Astra's hunting for this block. Astra's not content to just let him dink and dunk. They really want to get a block on these handler resets.
We are just under 5 minutes in this last quarter. And you can definitely tell by how hard the defense is making the offense work. Like you said, these small throws.
And it looks like they're having, Superbloom's going with these 4 handlers back. And, oh, just a small throw and hard to get a catch on it. And that happened in the Falcons game as well against San Francisco. Wilson dishes it over. We have Igawa on the mark. Igawa moves it back.
Obara seeing Wilson on the far sideline.
Wilson with the disc. Wilson looking for options. Looking for a dump. Swings it to the middle of the field. Igawa. Number 55 looking for options. It's Barreto. Barreto with the inside to Wilson. Can she come up with it? No. Pajunas with another block.
Are we at 5?
Ilamoto picking up. And they move to the middle. Astra again in their zone. This zone is giving them fits. And it's not much look downfield. You see a look to number 15 in the corner, but Astra comes and takes it away. And they're just moving it around. Maldonado back to Iwamoto, to Willis on the side. And they try to move it up, and what a great throwing catch. Oh! And she pump faked so hard that it came out, which is unfortunate. Convinced me. Astra picks up. Astra looking for options, looking for a dump. Goes up line, taking away that inside. And, oh, that's number 6.
Pajunas is out here making sure that Superbloom has as many chances to get this score as possible.
Man, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say about Vajunas, but it is incredible.
Yeah, just really great defense this game.
Moves it back to Willis. Willis moves it to the far sideline to Vajunas. Vajunas moves it back to Iwamoto. Iwamoto on the side. And Super Bloom's got to move a little faster. There's only 2.5 minutes left. They got to move faster. They have a little urgency. To Helton. Helton to Jones. Jones looking upfield. Dumps back to Maldonado. Maldonado looking for options. Maldonado Willis. They're about 25 yards from the end zone. Willis back to Maldonado in the middle. They're inching it up, but the seconds are ticking. To Iwamoto. Iwamoto takes that big throw over the top of the zone. Oh!
A great catch by Jessica Wan, and it looks like Igawa was there, maybe unable to stop her momentum a little bit, but definitely not a dangerous play. Wasn't trying to make too much of a play on that. Let's see that replay.
Oh, and one. And you can see that that's the throw that Iwamoto was making all those against San Francisco, all the over-the-top throws against the zone. That was the first one we've seen today.
All right, let's look at a couple of Ds from this last point. We see in the deep zone, Helton.
You can see these two players, Helton and Vajunas, have been making their mark on defense all day, taking away the deep space, taking away the unders. They have absolutely been terrifying the Astra today.
There's Vajunas again. Deep space, once again, Vajunas says, this is my house. And we see Vajunas just
again.
Making absolute sure that those discs do not connect with the receiver. Just great play from both Helton and Vajunas.
And we go back to the game with a little over 2 minutes left. Oh, and Super Bloom pulls it out of bounds.
Yeah, we're looking at
that one back.
A tied game, 10-10, with actually just 2 minutes left.
Super Bloom coming out and they're poaching off the vert stack. They break it off to Elamelic and it goes out of bounds, and this is what Super Bloom needs. They need to convert this break.
Yeah, just a little too much mustard on that throw.
And the player just couldn't catch up. Moves upfield to Helton. Helton on the sideline.
Looks like that's Ellis.
Oh, Ellis. My apologies. Hits Jones. Jones with the great step out, and oh
my
lands up Vajunas with the bid, and oh, incredible. Avery Jones fakes off the swing, sends it back to WUL. WUL, oh, just can't connect with Ellis.
Yeah, I'd say the wind definitely push that disc into that front corner of the end zone that we've seen, just out of reach of the receiver.
Moves it up line to Weaver. Weaver looks for the deep shot.
We have a stall call actually back on Connie Wang.
Hope we can reset the clock.
This is up here.
Observer rules no stall.
Okay, coming in saying one, we have a pre-stall. Yeah, 4, 3,
President fix the
2,
clock.
1, disc in.
Yep, they should have.
To Elamelic makes a good catch. Oh, and we have another.
Looks like it is a pick call. Yeah, both Astra and Super Bloom players a little muddled up downfield there.
Oh, and the classic UCSD lefty backhand back to space into the wind. Ooh, Pritchard with a great catch. Pritchard looks for options. Look for options. This is the trap Super Bloom needs. Another lefty backhand to the dump space. Salvation tries to get it, but just can't get there. Elamelic with the disc, holding it nice and content. 50 seconds left. Asher needs a burn clock. Super Bloom needs to get a block right here as WUL comes on to Elamelic. Super Bloom needs to get this block. Looking for options. Oh, great catch by Weaver with a bidding defender on her. Moving it up into the red zone. Sang with the dump, moves it back to Connie Wang, and it looks like there's a call.
Stall call by Helton on Sharon Sang.
You know, if there's a turn, the Super Bloom basically got one more possession, and they have one timeout left. I think we're going to see kill lines from both sides if this is a turn.
Definitely.
Speaking of the devil, we got a stall, and I'm assuming a timeout in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm assuming that Angela Wells is calling a timeout. Yep, there it is.
Wow, can you read the future?
I think we both can.
Add that to my resume.
Clairvoyance. Only in frisbee settings.
How do you spell clairvoyance? I went to state.
So it does look like we have 20 seconds left on the clock. Tied game here. We're likely to see Super Bloom swapping in their O-line and Astra swapping in probably a mix of both D and their scorers. We'll probably still see Ellie Melik stay on the field. O'Connor coming in, it looks like. Just both teams trying their best in these last 20 seconds to get possession and then score, and then no overtime needed. Otherwise.
Although I would like to see an overtime. Hey, it leaves more time for Pajunas to get more blocks.
That is true.
She might have more blocks than Super Bloom or Astra have points by the end of the game.
An interesting stat, yeah.
Put that on your resume too. It's like Lang is going to pick up the disc.
We're seeing Super Bloom offense setting up here. I don't know, this Astra defense is looking like they might throw their zone back on. It has been pretty effective against Super Bloom, but I'm sure Super Bloom is hoping to shred through it in this very crucial possession.
You see Super Bloom really wanted to set up in that 32 that they have, but they got to get it off, and they move it. Oh! Back to Iwamoto. Iwamoto, Pajunas back to Iwamoto. They're playing catch.
Dangerous
territory. Moving it to the far side. And 5 seconds left. This is going to be the last possession. It's a tie game. Lang
time has
over to
run
Jones.
out.
Got all the time in the world against this 3-3-1. They're finding the space in this 3-3-1. Let's see Iwamoto makes a big throw over the top like she did against the Falcons.
Oh, so if Super Bloom had scored that point, then it would have been over. But since it is a turn, we are going into overtime, folks.
So overtime rules, it looks like we're going to have about a 4-minute overtime. And in the last 2 minutes of that overtime, we will go into those last 2-minute rules as well.
Yeah, so the first overtime is time-based, so it will go for the full 4 minutes. Let's look at a replay here of that turnover just out of reach of Jones right there, sending us into
mustard on it.
Just couldn't quite catch up. But it is sending us into overtime. Again, the first overtime is 4 minutes. Those last 2 minutes, every call stops the clock, and then it is time-based. So if there's still a tie by the end of that overtime, we go into second overtime, which is sudden death.
And this is going to be exciting, man. San Diego and Los Angeles games. Name a better duo.
Yeah, and we do have to keep in mind, San Diego does have a second game just an hour after this one ends. So we have to wonder how much of that is playing into their strategy, playing into how they're feeling in this last overtime of this Astra game.
Sidewinders are probably just licking their lips, waiting, hoping that they run out of legs coming into that second game.
The results after this flip. So in other words, if San Diego picks to receive, or if it ends up at San Diego's receiving in this end zone to start this first overtime, if it gets to a second overtime, then Astra will be receiving in that end zone.
So just to repeat what the observer said, whoever receives during this overtime, if we go into the second overtime, the other team will be the one to receive.
It is red. Offense is chosen.
Astra wins the toss.
All right. I thought you were doing overtime now. So switch sides.
Looks like LA will be on offense. And looking at some other things. Looks like Helton and Zhang are finding a miscommunication on who will be pulling from where.
All right, looks like we do have it settled now. Looks like we do have some dancing on both sides. Both teams just probably trying to shake out these overtime nerves, loosen up, and really come into this overtime with patience, because it is both time for possession But you also do need a score, or else you go into the second overtime, which is sudden death and probably a lot more stressful than the first overtime look.
Now, Astra takes it on offense. If you're on offense right here, do you try to run a 4-minute offense and use all the clock, or do you just want to score and have as few throws as possible?
I would probably play more on the cautious side and go for a score early on and then see about possession afterwards, because if you play with the clock and you try to go for a possession game, you do run the risk of going into sudden death, which ends when the first team scores. And with the amount of drops that we've seen with the wind out here, I think getting scores early on in this overtime will help, you know, both teams. Definitely a fine line to play, though.
Yeah, it's tricky. Laying with the pull. Comes off. Start of overtime. Pull comes in about little over half field. Picked up, center to Wang. Wang looking downfield. Super Bloom out with a little bit of a junky zone for a few throws. Ellis on the trap mark. Ellis trying to take away the 90 degrees. They move it to Wang. Move it backwards. Move it back to Wang on the sideline.
Really able to stop those swing throws after they throw the backwards dump.
And it looks like they're back into person with Pritchard on the sideline.
Pick called.
Called back. Pajunas on the mark. Ooh, might see a 7.
Yeah, I mean.
3, 2, 1, disc in.
Ellis with the hard no around, and Pritchard gets the lefty backhand off. Moves it up. And she couldn't quite come down with it. Weaver with an uncharacteristic drop on a tough catch, to be fair. Elmelk on the mark. Lang puts it deep to Helton, and Helton will go, and she comes down with it, knocking on the door to the end zone.
Oh my goodness, what a bid to just keep possession, put them right in front of the end zone.
Oh.
And a good heads up bid from Igawa on that swing throw from Super Bloom.
Stombaugh shorts it a little bit, just couldn't quite get there.
Yeah, we see O'Connor was streaking deep.
Oh, and Weaver makes up for it with an incredible diving grab. Puts it up to Elimelech. O'Connor's a lead cutter. O'Connor is open in deep space. Elimelech looks to dump it, though, to space. Oh, and a tough grab by Zhang, trying to toe it in on that sideline. Just loses it.
Yeah, I think Zhang was, you know, trying to keep an eye on the sideline there and maybe lost possession while trying to keep her footing within the field.
Lang moves it up to Pajunas. Pajunas looking upfield. Fakes 1, fakes 2, moves it to Ellis on the live side. Ellis looking upfield. It's a wide open Stombaugh. Stombaugh looking upfield. Salvation open. Salvation on the far side and on the red zone, knocking on the door to Helton. And that is a goal for Super Bloom, and they take the lead with 2 minutes left in overtime.
I have to hand it to Super Bloom. That was a beautiful, patient, open side score on this first overtime point. I think they're definitely, whatever they did in that huddle between.
So we're going to come back at you with this layout from Helton. And just incredible. And when you need a play, and you look for your playmakers, and for this game, that's been Helton and Pajunas just making plays all day long.
And there we see Helton with a score and a
pretty nice
excited spike. Makes sense in overtime. It's definitely high emotions, but Super Bloom was able to maintain a patient offense on that last possession, and it really paid off for them.
And you can see there was a point where Elimelech had the disc on the low side, and O'Connor had beaten her person definitely deep. And you think that wind playing into it stopped that deep throw?
That might be a part of it, but Helton was the defender on O'Connor. So I think Elimelech made a smart choice in realizing that Helton was probably poaching and baiting that throw.
Speaking of patient offense, let's see what Astra has in tune for us. Astra looking for a dump, gets it to O'Connor on the far side. O'Connor uncorks, puts it deep to Elimelech, and Elimelech will come down with it. When you need a play, you look for your playmakers.
I'm surprised that both Pajunas and Helton were in the deep space.
Ooh, and
Looks like
O'Connor finds the open person for the score.
Looks like Woolridge for the score. Let's see if we can get a replay of that bid, or of that deep look to Ellie Mellick, because we have, here we go, O'Connor just putting it out there. And it looks like both Helton and Pajunas were near, but not quite in the deep space. Ellie Mellick maybe luring them into a false sense of security.
And it's funny because they've been, Super Bloom's been trying doing this poaching off the stack. I wonder if there was a miscommunication and someone thought they were going under. Ellie Mellick turned around to go deep, and just no one picked up.
Yeah, hard to catch up on Ellie Mellick when she already has a lead on you in the deep space.
Catch up to Ellie Mellick in general. And we have about a minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. And once again, if you're the offense, do you want to use all the clock or just score in whatever way you can?
Yeah, we are back to a tied game of 11-11. Is possession the strategy?
And, you know, Astra coming out of the zone. And Super Bloom is coming out with their 32 look as if they're anticipating man defense, which you always want to do, but they are definitely planned for this Astra zone. It looks like they're definitely starting to piece the holes together. Moves it over to Lang. They move Lang back to the O-line. Lang needing a reset.
Just a cheeky little scoober to get out of that tight space.
They're starting to move it back off the low side. Maldonado back to Lang, back to Maldonado. And it looks like they're going to use all the clock here at this point.
Just with the zone defense set anyways, that's definitely eating up the time.
Oh no, and Iwamoto turns it Iwamoto throws it to Walters. Walters can't come down with it. And there's 18 seconds left. And that clock is ticking. Oh, and here we go. Astra needs to Astra has the entire possession to get it in. Looking for the dump.
Looks like there is a call. I don't know about you, but timeout is called, and it's probably because Astra offense is feeling the stress.
Yeah.
Timeout, of course, resets the stall, brings them back to 0, gives them the opportunity to set up a play as they are on nearing their end zone.
Yeah.
Great time to set up a play, especially with 11 seconds on.
We're going to get a replay of that turnover from Super Bloom.
See Iwamoto, and it pops up a little high, and Walters just unable to get a grasp on that disc as it pops up. I don't know if you're superstitious, but right now the score is 11-11 with 11 seconds left.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. And we're going to see what Astra does. Now, does Astra say we want to use up 8 seconds and then score, or do you think they're just going to try to score regardless?
I think the strategy here would be patient possession. You are the last possession of this. Score if you can, but I don't think Super Bloom defense is going to make that easy.
Ooh, and they come out. Oh, they turn it over!
Goodness.
And Super Bloom will get one last shot, the one thing you couldn't do if you were the Astra.
There is 3 seconds left on that clock, but Super Bloom is, as long as they maintain possession.
Oh. And Iwamoto with a lefty backhand UCSD patented. Sent it to Helton to Pajunas. Pajunas moves it over to Jones. Jones looking upfield. Looking for a dump. Needs one urgently. And we'll have some kind of call.
I think contact might have been called.
We might need a replay of that contact call. It looks like maybe Jones looking for that contact a little bit.
Yeah, fun fact, Jones and Sang were actually teammates this past season as well on Lotus, the mixed club team. So I'm sure they'll be able to talk this out with the help of observers if needed.
It's second overtime now. So you're going to be receiving.
Oh no, it looks like they are saying it was a stall and the contact call is not valid. So we will be going to sudden death, which is incredible. And it looks like Super Bloom coaches really want to talk to the observers about this. They are not thrilled with.
Thank you for you called it.
Yeah,
you're good.
They're looking.
Pulling out the rule book.
Yeah, they're pulling out the rule books right now. Looks like they are accepting the observer rule, which since it was a stall and therefore a turn, that means Super Bloom lost possession. And because clock had run out, that means it's the end of that overtime. So we are now in double overtime, folks.
Wow.
What an exciting game. Exciting for us, I'm sure. Pretty high stress for both teams down there as we head into a sudden death overtime. Again, sudden death meaning the first team to score ends it.
Let's take another look at that turnover on LA. LA is going to run this set play. It's going to be the opposite of the zipper play that you'd normally see where you want the deep to come off the back of the stack. This time the front of the stack went live, the second person went break, and the third person, O'Connor, went under and just throw in the catch, just couldn't connect. Which is unfortunate. I like that play a lot though. That's going to be one that all coaches are going to watch and put that in their back pocket.
Yeah, definitely a cut from an unexpected place, putting Super Bloom on their heels. And we're going to take a look at that stall again. So we see Avery Jones there looking for a dump, looking for anything, and then I think may have called contact, but then we have saying, making that stall call, which ended the possession.
I really am looking forward to the days where we get on the scoreboard the seven stall counter, and just after it's automatic every time.
Yeah, I think that would definitely.
With thousands of fans cheering and losing their minds.
Definitely help clarify for everyone when it is an actual stall.
Your stopwatches, folks.
Yeah, but it is, spirit of the game still flowing through WUL, and players are able to make those calls and come to, discuss the call and go to observers when that's contested, and that's definitely something unique to Ultimate that I do love that is preserved in our pro league.
It's definitely very unique. And even more unique is sudden death double overtime as Iwamoto is going to come pick it up, and Astra's going to come out in their zone 3-3-1 again. And it looks like, nope, they're playing a kind of person version of this zone. And Iwamoto needs to find someone. She finds Pajunas. Pajunas looking back for Iwamoto.
Ellie Melik on the mark for Iwamoto, definitely trying to shut down any of those big throws from Iwamoto that would make this a quick score for Super Bloom.
Lang hits that tough window across the zone and across the field to Pajunas. Back to Jones. Jones in the middle. Wilson on the mark. Oh, Wilson not Wilson. Jones keeps it alive. Sends it back to Lang on the other side. Lang with another tough throw to Pajunas in the wind. Helton looking for the +1. Isn't there. Puts it to Iwamoto. Iwamoto on the sideline. Back to Pajunas toward the middle. Move! Oh! So close.
Sticky hands.
Running Jones puts her sticky hands out there, gets it, sends it back to Pajunas toward the sideline.
Good holsters here.
Oh my
and
right
goodness.
When you say that,
Is
a
that
little ambitious. Another D from Lexi Roy. That's her 4th in this zone as that wing. She just baits every single continue. That's her 3rd D today just in this zone.
Great run through, heads up D.
Audrey Brown sends it to number 93, Naomi Guzman. Guzman looking for Ella Malik. Ella Malik has it, looking upfield. Audrey Brown coming under. They move it over to number 24. Send it back to Ella Malik. Ella Malik to Audrey Brown. Audrey Brown looking upfield. Not there. Hits Roy on the under. Roy on the sideline. Wilson coming downfield is covered. Back to the inside, and we have a layout block from Kayla Helton to save the game. My apologies, Lex Stombaugh with a great bidding D.
What
Jones
a
moves it back to
pivotal D from Stombaugh.
Oh, and another attempt from Audrey Brown. And that is a goal, and Super Bloom takes the W in this classic San Diego versus LA matchup. And let's hear the excitement from Bloom.
You can definitely see the excitement and relief from Super Bloom for being able to get that final score in this sudden death overtime. And it was Pajunas in the end zone.
Way to cap off an incredible game from Bajunis, but also all listed.
And I really hope we get a replay of that amazing yeah, let's take a look at that. Look at that bid from Stomba.
Stomba just comes through and you need it the most.
Incredible
play.
Necessary play.
That was a great block. You know, when she's like 65 years old and she's telling her grandkids about this, she's going to play that clip. And we see that Bloom and Astra shake hands after an incredible game. This is a great game, and this is the second game that's gone into overtime from Bloom. And they've really come away with both W's. Really clutch play by Bloom to come away with the win. Great play in both games. In the Falcons game, it was Iwamoto coming through and making a lot of plays. In this game, you saw the mark of Bajunis and Helton really just dominating in their fields, both with an incredible amount of blocks, both incredibly reliable with the frisbee, and that's what we need from reliable teams that win games. So moving forward, it appears that San Diego, after that double overtime game, is going to have another game very shortly against the Arizona Sidewinders, which are also right next to each other in the standings. So hopefully, let's see if we have another double overtime game.
I mean, I don't think Super Bloom wants another double overtime game. It would make for an exciting watch as we go into this second game. But yeah, an incredible last overtime play from both teams, and just now a good contingent of the roster for Super Bloom, who just played their hearts out on the field, will have to go into this second game.
And let's come back to the play of the game, Discraft play of the game in a very high leverage situation. This incredible knee-high layout by Stomba on Wilson on this inside throw from Astra.
Pivotal bid. Can't say it enough. That D right there is what cinched the win for Super Bloom. Though we had amazing defensive plays from Super Bloom throughout the game. Bajunis up there in the stats for blocks. Helton right there behind her. But really, that bid in that moment was exactly what Super Bloom needed.
Yeah, and Astra had really been hitting a lot of those inside flicks back to those IO spaces all game, and Stomba was ready for it. She knew she was tight on her person, right there for the under. When the under kicked into a break side under, she was right there to get the block, knowing that Astra was looking for those insides. So great job by Stomba. And that's going to be on our highlight reel. So excellent job. Thank you very much for watching. We will be looking to see if we can get more highlights.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the incredible defensive and offensive plays throughout this game. First up, a bid from Kayla Helton. Next we have Ellie Melik just tapping that disc. Just out of bounds. Sorry, not today.
Ooh, another hand block by Bajunis with authority. Same play again, but I like just seeing the no, put it in the grounds. Now, as a San Diego, we're very close to Tijuana. Those cities are very, very connected. Upcoming, we encourage you to stay on the live stream as we have a youth game between the San Diego, LA youth, as well as the Tijuana youth. And the Tijuana youth scene is huge. They have over 100 youth players, very committed, and a program that's very wonderful in promoting not only youth ultimate, but especially youth women's ultimate. And they do a great job of promoting that. And we will go ahead and hopefully come down to the field and take a look at these excellent, excellent youth players from not only across Southern California, but the whole metro area. And we are going to go to break, but please, please come back and watch the future of Southern California and Baja California Ultimate. California strong.
And thank you for joining us for the Astra Super Bloom game. See you soon for the Sidewinder Super Bloom game.
I was screaming on the other side too. I like. Sometimes she tunes out. When would I get the stall is 7 seconds? Everyone like will get like teams